I've helped put together this Blockchain University course for developers on blockchain technologies. This was an 8-week course that started back in January. A number of our instructors from the course are in the house, and I hope you get to meet them, including from BlockCypher right here. This is the blockchain is stored here, I think. Adif Nazar is here, guys from IPF and OK Turtles are here, and others. So we're going to kick it off with student demos in a few minutes. So you'll be seeing from 8 or 9 projects. So you'll get to see, this is the work throughout the course of the 8 Saturdays. And after those 8 Saturdays, we'll have a little bit of a recap of those projects and what we're looking to do in the future. We'll have a short break, have a little bit more food, and then we'll have a panel with Tim Swanson and others. So a big welcome to you all here. And I have a big thanks to give to BitPay and Eric Martindale. Eric's sending a tweet out to the blockchain. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the mic here to Eric Martindale with BitPay. Let's give him a big hand. Thank you.
So at BitPay, we're really excited to be sponsoring this Blockchain University because our ethos is completely centered around open source. We believe that Bitcoin, the blockchain, all of the things that everybody is working on is not going to succeed without a very robust infrastructure and ecosystem of developers building really cool things. So that's one of the reasons we decided to come here and provide as much as support as we can to help you guys just stay focused on building awesome stuff. I think as we've sort of progressed through the classes, we've seen have a lot of interesting questions, a lot of very interesting projects. And we're really looking forward to seeing some of those things come out today and see what people have built. So thank you all very much for all the time and effort that you've put into this stuff. BitPay is really proud to see such a large community growing. You know, we got started in 2011, and we never thought that we would see such a large group of people around the world really building on this technology. And that's super, super exciting for people, especially who've gotten in very early and have seen this growth. And you guys are a part of that. So thank you all very much.
Thanks so much, Eric. And Institute for the Future?
Yes.
Yes. So a quick announcement from Institute for the Future.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here, really excited to meet you all. My name is Alessandro Voto. I'm with Institute for the Future, which is a nonprofit think tank, and we're doing a lot of thinking in the space of not just cryptocurrency, but what an entire economic system might look like if it was built with this, and what distributed computing systems might look like, and trying to get a 10-year view on this, or even further, to really see where these shape up. So 2 things that we have going on. The first is a user test, which is people who are very new to blockchain wallets. So if you know anybody or if you are a new user, please let us know, and we'd love to have you involved in a conversation. And the second is just an open invitation to partnership to think about this at a longer scale. So anyone who's really interested in what this looks like once the dust settles and how we start to build new economies, definitely let us know. So really excited for all the presentations, and thank you.
Thanks very much. And one other thing, who in the room is hiring? Blockchain startups that are hiring. Let's keep those hands up just for a second. So we have a lot of good engineers who are looking to be hired. And yeah, so during the break, we have set up a job curve over there. See that curvy bar right over there? If all you all are in that area, we'll can match you up potentially with some good good engineers. So. Okay, so we have 8 projects, and we're going to start off here with a great couple, Yvonne and Jeff, that will be presenting Astroblocks. And on deck we'll have Jeff, we'll have Ranga and Andy. And so we'll be doing about 3-minute presentations with 2 minutes optional of question and answer. We have Zaki and Tim, Zaki Manian of SkewChain here in the front row, and also Tim Swanson will be perhaps asking some questions. Also, if there's some other quick, simple audience questions, we'll take 1 or 2 questions after each project. So 3 minutes of presentation, 2 minutes of feedback if you have any for them or questions for them. And we will start with Yvonne and Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Yvonne Tang. I'm a developer and designer at our company Siliconian. And both my partner Jeff and I have a background in physical science, and I used to be a radio astronomer.
Hi, my name is Jeff Flowers. I'm a professor of chemistry at College of San Mateo, and I work also with Yvonne at Siliconian. And so our project is Astroblocks, and this is our culminating experience from this blockchain university. We're proud to demonstrate it.
In astronomy, a lot of objects such as asteroids, comets, and variable stars are often discovered by amateur astronomers. And sometimes these objects would be named after or named by the discoverers. So the question is, how does one prove that they discover a certain object at a certain time?
And so we were thinking about what we're trying to accomplish here. We've got time-sensitive information that needs to be later verified through peer review. And when looking at it in this context, it looked very much like a transaction chain. And so thus was born the idea of Astroblocks. Why not have blockchain encapsulation of this data set with multi-sig verification? And so how does it work? So the mechanics of this, Alice makes a discovery, goes on to, of course, Astroblocks, you gotta do that. And the website captures her data, hashes the data, and then encodes this hash into a op return into a single transaction. This hash will be used doing double duty. One, to prove the data's existence, as well as an internal reference for the database. After this has been produced, this then is sent to a multi-sig address controlled by our experts.
So unlike the identities of the observers, which is obscure from the evaluators, so to keep the evaluation unbiased, the identities of the experts are public information, so they are held responsible for their judgments.
After the experts weigh in on the validity of the data set, whether they want to vote yes or no, once consensus has been reached, the system will then send out a spend event encapsulating that expert opinion into the blockchain, which is then encoded for all to see. So we were thinking about this project, and we thought that it could be very much generalized to a number of different endeavors. Anything that requires time-sensitive information that needs later follow-up for verification, such as peer-reviewed publication, as well as for intellectual property. One example here is if you have a better novel device and you want to determine whether or not intellectual patent costs would be warranted, you could ask an expert panel their opinion as to whether or not further follow-up is advisable. And to this, at a much reduced cost. So let's look at it. I'll just hold this. So here's the interface. The individual would come in, write down their information as to what they found. The object that they believe that they have is used to determine what multi-sig address the transaction would ultimately go to. And then after encapsulating the data, it would go to our experts. They would see, you could see who the experts are and look at it. And then eventually you could see down here whether or not your data was actually truly captured into the blockchain. So here, Alice has put in her information. We awaiting payment to begin the transaction. And then once the transaction is, the observers, or rather the experts, would look at the data. They would use the hash of the data set to locate it within the database. The observer's full name has been also obscured through a hash. So this way, though verified, it is obscured. Then the experts could weigh in as to a yes or no vote on this data set. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Sure. What's the time requirement? Like, do you have to vote within like a certain block height or something like that?
As for like to get credit for the discovery of an object?
Yeah,
Or-
or to actually sign a yes or no. Like, is it like an unlock timeline?
Oh, so we're using a tool developed by Block.io, Dtrust, in which it does it all on their site, and then once consensus has been reached, enough trust has been achieved, then it creates a transaction.
So it's a timestamp with an op return for the first step of the Unix time, and then the second step is the 2 or 3 multi-sig verification.
Well, thank you very much. And
So I'd like to point out that Jeff's an instructor at San Mateo College. He's a chemistry instructor, and Yvonne is a physicist, astronomer, and web developer, and a blockchain engineer. And during the first part of the course, they did a project called Confessions on the blockchain. So next week he's going to the Vatican to pitch the Vatican on confessions for the Church of Nakamoto, as Yvonne is continuing to discover heavenly bodies. Now, isn't that wonderful? Speaking of time,
this was a side project that we did, and it came out of discussions with another instructor of Blockchain University, Christian Peel. I don't see him out here, but we were talking about the idea of time and how does one determine time? When does an event occur? How do we denote that? And so the question was, well, we can't very well use time as we know it. It differs, and it got me really thinking about this problem. And it reminded me of beat time or internet time from the 90s, this watch idea that didn't go anywhere. But in the future, everybody would live on the internet, and therefore you need a common time. And I realized we live in the future now, and we do live on the internet, so we do need a common time, and we do have devices that allow for this for the first time. And so I went back and I decided that it was time enough to create a watch face, because I saw so many of my cohort members with a Pebble, and I thought, why not just write one and have fun with it? And so here we've got, Blockchain University. Here's a QR code if you want to download it. If you've got a Pebble watch, you can hit that, upload it, and then you too can tell what the block height is, and therefore you know the time on the internet. So just a fun-filled little side project.
everybody having a good time?
Yeah.
Up next is Ranga Krishnan and Andrew Ong. They'll be doing event tickets without payment processing servers.